This is English Language Arts Semester 3 exam review at ISI.
The topics that are covered in Semester 3 are comprehension, writing, grammar, and story novel.
So if you want to see your worksheet augmented, go to Play Store, click on Play Store, go ahead and type in Erasma. Okay, and go ahead and click on this. I have it installed on my phone, so you should have an option for free, and you click on it, and then you should write install. It should have install on it, and then it should open and run properly in your background. Okay, once you have it, then you go ahead and click on the icon Erasma, and then you'll get a screen like this. Now, for the first time you use it, you must add your teacher's name, your teacher's username, which should be on the worksheets. As you see on the screen here, mine is H. Mogan. So go ahead and click on this arrow here. And you can go ahead and write search. Click on the search button here. You see that small search button? And you can search for any of the usernames. For example, my name. H. Mogan is my username, and then I would write search and wait for it to find me. Okay, and there you have it. There I am. So then you would go ahead and it should give you an option to follow. So you go ahead and you press follow under one. It should be under like, share, that you would click on to follow, and there you should start to be able to read. And then you go ahead and click Aura again. You'll get the screen again, and you try it on your worksheet.
Everyone is always considered singular, even if we're talking about 100 people. Go back to your subject, verb agreement worksheets for help.
There you go. So then you try it over the questions which have the icon as written on the first page. So all these icons should be augmented, and good luck. Enjoy it. It's only 10 seconds or 10 to 12 seconds, so they're little hints for you, and you can actually get in the mode of studying with your teacher there present.
Mary McLeod Bethune. Many American schools have been named after Mary McLeod Bethune. Bethune was a successful and well-known educator. She founded several schools for African Americans, as well as African American Women's Organization. She also held important positions in the federal government during President Franklin Roosevelt's administration. Bethune was among the most prominent leaders of her time educated. Mary McLeod Bethune was born in South Carolina in 1875. Her parents and some of her siblings had once been slaves. The family lived in a cabin and farmed land that they owned. They instilled strong values and a willingness to work hard.
Bethune's education began at a free school near her home because she was a good student. She won a scholarship to a school for African American girls in North Carolina. After graduating Bethune's first higher education in Chicago, she wanted to be a missionary, but she was told that African American students were not needed. Bethune was devastated. She decided that instead she would dedicate herself to providing good education for African Americans in America. Bethune and her husband moved to Florida, where she started her first school. She rented a 4-room cottage and raised money by selling baked goods and ice creams, and by going door to door. Most of all schools' furniture came from the city dump. Bethel's first class consisted of 5 girls and her son Albert. Her determination and business skills made the school a success. Within 2 years, enrollment at the Daytona Institute had increased to 250 students, mostly girls. Bethel purchased land and built a new campus. She began to focus on high school and on encouraging students to go to college. By 1923, Bethel had transformed the Daytona Institute into a college. Her primary goal was to train future teachers. In 1929, she merged her college with the men's college, forming the Bethel-Cookman College. Bethel traveled the United States, giving talks to raise funds. She seemed to know just how to convince people to become donors. She also organized African American women's groups including the National Association of Colored Women.
Bethan's interest turned to politics. She steered African American women's groups to concentrate on ending unfair laws such as the poll tax, which made it impossible for many poor African Americans to vote. She also focused on public health programs, ending discrimination in the armed forces, and teaching African American history in public schools.
When Bethel realized her women's group did not have a national voice, she created the National Council for Negro Women, NCNW. The council focused on fighting the unfair treatment of African American women and on segregation, the separation of African Americans and whites.
Along the way, Bethune had met Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of President Franklin Roosevelt. The two became good friends. Roosevelt had Bethune get a position at an agency that helped young people to find work. Through this job and others, Bethune became a national African American leader. She and other African Americans in Roosevelt's administration pressed for civil rights and greater job opportunities. Bethune and her colleagues joined marches against Washington, D.C. business that refused to hire African Americans. They also demonstrated for the rights of African American sharecroppers. Toward the end of her life, Bethune wrote about the principles that guided her. She argued for dignity, hope, harmony with all people, and education. And as always, she advocated for the advancement of African Americans. In 1973, Bethune was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. A sculpture was erected in her honor in Washington, D.C.
Go ahead, Lua.
According to the text, why have schools been named after Mary McLeod Bethune? Because she was a successful and well-known educator, that's why the schools have been named after her.
Okay, so Bethune was a successful
And well-known
and prominent educator who founded. What does it mean, founded? Schools and women's organizations. So because she did all of these things, she was very popular, and they wanted to show her that they honored all she did by naming schools after her. Okay, the next question, go ahead, Lian.
Read paragraph 2. What is the purpose of this paragraph? Paragraph 2 give the reader an information about the past life of Mary Bethune.
Okay, who would like to add to this? Yes?
I wrote it to inform the reader about Mary McLeod Beethoven.
Okay, so this paragraph actually tells us her early life, her middle life, or the last end of her life. The beginning of her life, so it would be called the upbringing. So the purpose of this paragraph is to inform the reader, which is us, of Bethune's upbringing. Okay, the next question, go ahead.
According to the text, why did Bethune create the National Council for Negro Women? Bethune created the National Council for Negro Women because she realized her women's groups didn't have a national voice.
Very good, correct. And would anyone like to add to this question? Because we can add to it as well. Yes.
Fight it because of the unfair treatment of African Americans.
Okay, very good. As well. So she created this council to help represent the Black women's voice and help the unfair treatment women. Okay. Now, number 4. Yes, Joelle?
What was the effect of Bethune's friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt, according to the text?
Okay.
The effect of Bethune's friendship with Eleanor is because she was the wife of the President Franklin, and she helped Bethune get a position at an agency that helped young people find work.
Very good. So if I want to summarize what she said, I would say their friendship helped Bethune get a position to help young people get to work, and thus became a national leader for her people. What is the source of Bethune's determination? Before you answer this question, I just want to tell you to go back to paragraph 8 and see what happens around the effect of the missionary position. She wanted to become a missionary, which is a person who helps others, but because she was an African American person, they said she can't be a missionary because she was black. Imagine, she wants to dedicate her life in helping others. They said to her, you cannot because you are black. Imagine people who help others, their lives are dedicated to help others. They said to her, you can't help others because you're black. So something happened here, and you have to tell me what the source of her determination is. and this might have been also an ignition to help her. Okay, go ahead, Liam.
She wasn't able to. What is the source of Bethlehem's determination explained? She wasn't able to be a missionary. She got friends with Eleanor Roosevelt. She opened the college just to get African Americans right.
Okay, it's partially correct, but you're missing some aspects of the question. The source means where did she get her determination from, and explain it. Yes, dear.
Well, Bethlehem's determination was to get her rights and other American women's rights as well. That's why she created women's schools and the National Council of Negro Women.
So what was the source of her determination? A source is a place. A source is a place, person, or thing. It's a noun. To help it's an action. It's a verb. The source would be a noun. It has to be a person, place, or thing. What is it? Okay, so maybe that's the source that she wants her rights. Okay. But what made her do the National Council? Why did she want to? Why did she want to do all these things? Yes, Allah.
She wanted to help people, but she couldn't because she was black.
Very good. Excellent. So she wanted to help people, and because she was black, she was unable to. So she focused on who? On who? Who did she help? Did she help all people or who? She only helped black people because she wasn't allowed to help others because she was black. So she helped black people to get rights. Now, this question in itself can have many answers. So I'm just going to give you a sample answer of my own that you can base your answer on. But all of you have correct answers. So these types of questions can have more than one answer. So answers will vary. So here's one good answer. The source of Bethune's determination So instead, she helped provide education for her people. Her ambitions led her to continue with her education and look for ways to help her people against oppression. Oppression is when someone is mistreated for reasons that are not ethical and racist, for example, like being black, okay? So they were oppressed. They didn't have the rights that others had just because they were black. Go back to the text and refer to page 2 and complete this sentence. So it's like a cause-effect relationship. You have to tell me what happened before this or after because of this. So when businesses refuse to hire African Americans, how can we make this sentence correct? Yes.
Bethune and her colleagues joined marches against Washington.
Beautiful. Bethune and her colleagues joined marches Okay, many poor African Americans became able to vote because, yes, Joel?
American women groups to concentrate on ending unfair laws such as the poll tax.
Does anyone have a different answer? Yes?
She focused on public health programs, ending the discrimination in the armed forces.
So, what did Bethune do in order to end this? Bethune steered African Americans, African American women's groups to concentrate on ending unfair laws. Okay, let's look at the vocab. Through context clues, you should have been able to answer these. Part C, number 1, yes?
Well-known and important prominent.
Next one. Go ahead. Instilled. Those who give something. Yes? Donors. Fellow workers. Yes? Colleagues. Okay, they from paragraph 2, what does it refer to? What does the pronoun they refer to in paragraph 2? Yes, Tala?
Bethune's family.
Bethune's family. From paragraph 9, which they, yes? Bethune and her colleagues is correct as well. Okay, now you read about problems and ways that she solved them throughout the whole text. Give me a couple examples here.
Bethune realized that her women's group did not have a national voice, so she created the National Council of Negro Women.
No voice for African American women. She created the NCNW. Okay, another problem.
Yes. Bethune wanted to be a missionary.
Okay.
But she was told that no African American were not needed.
So she wasn't allowed to be a missionary. So what did she do instead?
She helped
Africans.
Her own people. Very good. So you can add another one, and there are more than 3 problems and solutions in the text. So let's continue with the next one. You'll have an answer key with more problems and solutions. It's okay. Okay. Who would like to do the first one? Yes.
Correct the one grammatical error in each of the following sentences. 1. There is no natural lakes in Maryland and 5 because there weren't any glaciers in Maryland during the Ice Age. Is not it should be R instead
Okay.
is
Why?
because it's lakes, not lake.
Very good. Number 2. Muhammad.
Under the frozen surface of Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons, lies a sea of water the size of a lake. Superior lies, not lies.
Very good. So here it should be lies. Why? Because we are talking about one.
Singular subject takes.
It's a singular subject.
So takes as.
Very good. Alright, Linda, the next one.
Near the capital in Topeka, Kansas, stand several trees that were planted by citizens as part of an Arbor Day celebration on April 22, 1875. It stands across the S.
Okay, why do we use stand rather than stands? What are we talking about? Are we talking about... Very good. So are we talking about Kansas?
No.
If we were talking about Kansas, we would leave it stands. However, we are talking about trees. Okay, who stands? Kansas stands or the trees?
The trees.
Very good. All right, the next one, Sala.
There's another mistake in the sentence.
Oh, yes, you're right. Thank you. Go ahead, Sala.
Not only Trang and Eric, but also Carlos enjoy reading and writing essays in their English class. It's enjoy becomes enjoys.
It becomes enjoys. Why?
Because it's we use not only, so
Very
we're
good.
only talking about one person.
So because we have not only but also, we have to look at the noun closest to the verb. The noun closest to the verb is Carlos. It's singular. So that means the verb itself must be a plural verb. For it to become plural, it has to be a singular verb. And for the verb to be singular, it must have an S. Remember, the verb is singular with S and the noun is plural with S. So don't confuse the two. Okay, the next one. Go ahead, Lian.
We also plan to take mathematics next quarter. Plans should be planned.
Okay, very good. They also plan. Very good. It should be plan. Because they is plural and plans is considered a plural verb. We need a singular verb, which would be plan. Yes, Muhammad.
There is many other classes they want to take together because they have formed a study group.
Do we look at there when we see it in a sentence? We never look at there or here. It's one of the rules. We must see what they are talking about. What noun are they talking about? Classes. So we must use the plural verb are. Yes.
Everyone is welcome to join the study group if they want to.
Very good. Next one. Yes?
The students who join the study group needs to meet every Friday. It's need.
Need, because we are talking about the students, not the group. Okay, the next one.
Either the three elephants or the lone tiger, it is instead of are going to be cut from the second act.
Very good, because we have either, we look at or, we must look at the noun closest to the verb, which is lone tiger. It's singular, so we must use a singular verb is. Next one, go ahead. The last one.
Either the lone tiger or the three elephants are going to be cut from the second.
So here we have the same sentence, but we put the three elephants last, closer to the verb, so we must change is to are. Very good. Okay, let's identify whether the sentences are simple, complex, compound, compound, complex. And we must underline the dependent clauses. Let's underline the dependent clauses once and the independent clauses twice. The first one.
Vampire's Diaries is my favorite television show, but I also love True Blood. There's no independent clauses.
Okay. So there are two independent clauses. Let's underline them twice. And we consider it as compounds. Remember, these coordinating conjunctions here will help you recognize a compound sentence. Alright, the next one. Hamad.
The student worked the whiteboard that was filled with last week's notes. The student wiped the whiteboard
Independent.
was filled with last week's notes and independent. It's complex.
Very good. It's complex. Excellent. Number 3. Yes.
The trendy fashion designer
Released?
a new line on Wednesday. The trendy fashion designer released its one sentence, a sample sentence, independent clause.
Very good. So all of this here is independent, and so this becomes what? Very good. Next one, go ahead.
Trina and Harry went to a bar in Hollywood to celebrate their anniversary. Trina and Harry went to a bar in Hollywood. It's dependent to celebrate independent to celebrate their anniversary.
Dependent, very good. It's complex. Do you all agree? You have to know these, Muhammad Ali. Pay attention, okay?
Yeah.
Can you do the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Wicked Regina.
Wicked Regina cast a spell on the entire city. So the citizens decided to rebel.
Okay.
Compound.
Excellent. So here we have two independent clauses, and this will become compound since there are two. And we have the coordinating conjunction so. Yes, Tala.
While waiting for the paint to dry, it's an dependent clause.
Okay, dependent.
Angela went to Home Depot. It's an independent clause.
Okay.
And Martin organized the kitchen appliances. It's an independent clause.
So what makes?
So it's a compound.
Excellent. So this makes the sentence compound, complex. It has one dependent clause and two independent clauses, which means it can be compound, complex together. Yes, go ahead.
After listening to the Henry West CD, I have new respect for his music content.
Okay, so this is complex. After listening to this, is this dependent or independent?
It's independent.
Dependent. I have new respect for his music. Independent. Remember, if it's dependent, it is not a sentence. It cannot stand alone. However, if it's independent, it can be a simple sentence on its own. Okay, the last one. Go ahead.
After the teacher chose groups, John and Sarah were selected as partners for a project. Yet, Sarah most of the work did most of the work.
Okay. After the teacher chose groups, dependent or independent?
Dependent.
Okay.
After the teacher chose groups, it's dependent. John and Sarah were selected as partners for a project. It's independent. Yet Sarah did most of the work independent, so it's a compound complex sentence.
Very good. Excellent. Now for the writing part. Revolution could be defined as a war between a state and its people. Okay? It happens when the people are against the government. For example, in the day of Mary Bethune, there was a revolution going on. The government was allowing African Americans to be discriminated against. So, with people like Bethune, she started a revolution in order to give them their rights. You are allowed to choose any type of revolution in history where people fought for their rights and make a story about people who started it. It can be make-believe, so it would be considered historical fiction. You just have to write your own story. You can use any type of historical information that you know and make up facts, make up your own story about it. You can use some facts. It is supposed to be fiction. So yes, it can be fiction. Now for the second part, like the text that we read in the language arts book, you learned about immigration and immigrants and people who move from one place to another because they cannot stay in their country because there's no work or there's war. So here you must choose a time of heavy human migration. Here we have it in Syria, we have it in other countries around us that are having war now. So this can be not only historical fiction, but it can be realistic fiction. So you're making it up as well. You're making up a story about where the characters started and where they ended, but the focus of the story should be on the journey itself. Okay, so think of the stories that you read and you can take ideas from them because there was journeys in both. Okay, and you must organize your writing in this type of an organizer where you write a problem. One is the revolution because of unfair treatment. Two, if you're writing about immigration, the problem is that they can no longer stay in their own country. The causes, war, for example. The other causes for the revolution could be discrimination or segregation. Effects, well, people were upset, could be one effect, but what did we do because of the effect? We started, yeah, okay, the effect is the revolution. You have to tell me about it. How did this revolution affect others, good and bad? And then you give me a solution to this problem, but it must be in a story form. Okay? All right, good luck. Good luck, my dears.
Thank you.